Hello, I'm Daniela, and welcome to month 3 of the Stitch With Me in 2023 online workshop. This month, I'll have a new prompt for you, and I'll show you just a quick version of my old prompts, and then we'll get started right away. The new prompt is for repetition. Now that's kind of an interesting prompt, and you can do anything with it. You can repeat fabrics, you can repeat stitches, colors, really anything goes. So really have fun with this prompt. It took me a while to decide exactly what I wanted to do with it, and then my concept was a little strange, but I really enjoyed it. So let me show you my process. So we're ready for the March prompt, which is repetition. And there are so many variations on this. I actually had a hard time deciding what to do. I think I know what I'm going to do, and it's very convoluted, so we'll see what happens. As you can tell, I love texture for my first 2 prompts. I've got a lot of lace. I've got all these little wooden things. So now these are the previous prompts from January and February, anew and map, and now I'm ready for my March prompt. Since the theme is repetition, I'm really going to have fun with it. And this might not turn out exactly as I planned, but I'm going to give it a shot. I always like to start out by cutting my backing fabric. I'm just going to use some black fabric this time. I used very light colors in the past. So I just like to cut it down to size. And I do like texture and that torn edge. So once I have that piece down, then I can really start the design work. So this piece fits nicely on my little card here. And there's a little room so that when I eventually bind the book at the end of the year, it won't really stick in. I can set the card aside for now and just work on the design process. I have a bunch of scraps. I have some yarn here, nice thick yarn, lace, the floss and pearl that I want to use, and then just some batting here. For the repetition theme, I'm going to do a Princess and the Pea theme, and the repetition will be all those mattresses that line up. That's one of those little childhood, I think it was originally Hans Christian Andersen tales, and it's kind of interesting. The premise is that there's a stranger comes to the castle or something to that effect, either claiming to be royalty or something, and the mother-in-law hides a pea under the lowest mattress. The premise being if she's really royalty, she'll have felt that pea. So I think that's a cute concept, and I always remember children's books with all those colorful mattresses. So I want to make essentially a 4-poster bed. I'm probably only going to use 2 posts here, and I'll use this yarn for that. Then I'll just use a little antique lace for the bottom and the top of the 4-poster. And then I have some beautiful fabrics here, and that's going to be the hard part for me, is choosing which fabrics to use to still make it look effective. And then of course I have my green floss to make that little pea. So I'll start here, and I'll start by cutting those 2 posts I want for the bed. I can always trim this down further, but more or less that's what I want. And then the little dust linen, I guess you call it. And so then I want the canopy of the bed up top as well, and I think I'll do 2 layers of lace for that. And I cut it extra wide so I can wrap it around if I want. I can lower this just slightly, and now I just want to fill in some areas for those mattresses. And I want them to have a little oomph, so I'm going to back them with this batting. Cut the batting to the approximate size. And now I can start coming up with different colors for the mattress. I'll just quickly look through some of these scraps. I'm always partial to blues, so I might be able to use some of that. But I do have a lot of red too. I like the way that looks. I think to make the mattress have a little extra texture, I'm going to fold these pieces in half and overlap them. So the top mattress will be just like that. Now this piece is a little bit shallow, so since I have another scrap here, I'll cut it to the appropriate size, and then I can fold it over. And to really make it to make it a little more interesting, I'm just going to fold it over the top here. So I like the way that's coming along. I'm going to take some of this ecru pearl and just tack it down with a few stitches. These stitches are not going to show, so I can just tack it down or baste it. And now I can decide how thick I want each of the mattresses to be, if I want them to be uniform or not. This is really the fun design part. So I'll speed this part along so you don't have to watch me hem and haw over which colors to use, but I'll show you my process. Here I'm just folding and designing the mattresses, and then I'll eventually trim it all down. I find it easier to pull some fabric scraps aside, just so that I don't have so much to choose from for my entire fabric collection. I just take some of the brightest colors that I have of fabric that I really like, and then I just fold each one and audition it, see which one I like, and then I'll have my completed stack of mattresses. And now for my final mattress. I'm going to fold it like this in a neutral color so that green pea really stands up, and tuck it around on the bottom. I might need a larger piece of fabric to do that. So I'll fold this down and tuck that bottom. And now, because these stitches will show, I'll just take a moment to stitch them in an orderly fashion. I'll knot it on the back, and then I have my mattress element ready to go. So now I'm going to trim this down. And that's really cute. I can take some stitching and just top stitch the edge just to make them look like mattresses, and I'll consider that. But right now, I'm going to have it come in here with two of my 4-poster beds, which I think I'll put right, I can either have it abutting it. So now I'm going to work on the posters of the bed. I have my little mattresses, and now I can decide if I want the posters up on top of the mattress or just abutting it by the side. I think I want it on top. I'm going to move this down ever so slightly. And I'll take a pin to hold it in place. I'm going to stitch it down with some more thread to hold that mattress element in place. And then I'm going to play around with getting the right placement for these, the posters, for the little wooden frame of the bed. Some brown embroidery floss here. And I'm just going to do a couching stitch all the way around. So let me stitch a little bit of the mattress to hold it in place, and then we'll start the couching stitch. So I have my little mattresses tacked down, and now I want to use this yarn to make the bedposts. So I'm going to start by holding it in place right on the edge. I think it's a little bit easier for me if I hold it this way. I'm going to start in the center and work my way left, and then I'll come back up. It's not the most efficient way, but I think it's a nice way to get a very sharp effect. Because this yarn is twisted and has these interesting diagonal areas, I'm going to try and enhance that with my embroidery floss. So I'm going to come over here, come back in. I'm going to let that be my guide for these stitches. It'll look like it's shadowing on the little wooden bed. I want this to go right to the end here. So I'm just going to continue with these stitches. And I'll do one more. So now I can decide how I want it to end. I think I'm gonna let it just stand out. So I'll clip it. I'll knot my thread and continue stitching it right up top here. And I'll do the same thing with the other piece on this side and show you how it looks. So I've stitched down my posts for the bed, kind of quasi posts anyway. And now I'm ready to add the lace, the little dust ruffle to the bed, and the little canopy. And I think it's starting to come together. It's kind of still abstract, and that's okay. The colors are very vibrant and there's a lot of texture. So it's really working for me. I'm going to come in here first and figure out how I want that dust ruffle to go. So I think I'm just going to have the top of this little lace overlap with the top of that mattress. I'll make a little snip here. Kind of tuck it here so it looks like it's underneath. I might have to snip it again. And then for the top piece here, the top canopy, I want it to be 2 layers, I think. Yeah, just to give it a little body. And so I'll stitch those down. I'm just going to use some of this ecru pearl. So I'll stitch those down, and then we could finish this piece by making the little P at the bottom of the mattress. So now I have a very abstract version of all these mattresses stacked up on the bed. So now I want to come in here. I have just 6 strands of embroidery floss on this green thread, and I want to create that P. Now it's technically not underneath the mattress, but this isn't really technically a bed either. So I'm just going to make a large French knot. So I pulled up my thread from the bottom where I knotted it, and now I'm just going to go around it 4 or 5 times, keeping that tension on the needle and the thread. And I poke that point of that needle back down very close to where I stuck it in. I'm going to pull it down, still maintaining that tension here on this loop. And then when I pull it together, I have a little bit of a little French knot. If it's not neat, though, I can come in here, make a little cheater's stitch, which is just a stitch coming up from the bottom, and it just kind of holds it all together. You can do 2 or 3 of these, but see how it neatens that up really well? I'll knot the back, and then I'm ready to just attach it to my card, and I'll add my label. So that's my completed tag for repetition. All my little mattresses, my bedpost, my little lace. I love it. It's a little abstract and a little fun, but who doesn't just love those colors? Put it in my box here and get ready to work on it next month. So that's my prompt 3, repetition, for the Stitch With Me in 2023 series. Now this is a beautiful online workshop that lasts an entire year. Each month, the beginning of the month, I'll give you a new prompt. Really give it some time to consider and then go for it. Make your own prompt. At the end of the year, we'll bind it all together in a book, and you can show your work on our Facebook group throughout the year. You're welcome to join at any time. And I encourage you to join and show your work, either your finished prompts or your processes. It's a very interesting group, very supportive, with a lot of talent and a lot of support. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for joining me today.